Hey, how's it going? It's Andy Blanks from YM360 with another teacher prep video for our Together Event Resource Bible Study. Some of you guys, this third small group session, if you're teaching this at a weekend event, this will be your last session, okay? So I hope this allows you to kind of end on a high note. Some of you will end up with session 4, and we'll cover that in the next teacher prep video. But for this teacher prep video, I want to talk to you guys about moving this definition along the lines, right, for what it means to be together. We started with the foundation in lesson 1. In lesson 2, we talked about how the togetherness we're supposed to have as Christ followers, and especially as Christ followers in a local body, a local church. It's supposed to be more than just physical proximity, right? We're not just together in one place worshiping. That's part of it, but it's about an emotional investment. In this lesson 3, we're going to talk about the purpose of our togetherness. Now, I love this lesson. I think this is really going to resonate with your students. It's very relevant for where they are trying to live as teenage Christ followers in the culture they find themselves in. This is a lesson all about the purpose of togetherness. We're going to look at 2 passages. We're going to look at Jesus' the Great Commission to the disciples in Matthew, and then some of Paul's advice, words to the church in Ephesians 4. We're going to define our purpose, the purpose of togetherness, the mission of our togetherness, it really in one succinct way, and then we're going to look at how that manifests itself in 2 ways. We're going to say that the purpose of our togetherness is to lead people closer to Christ. Now, that looks 2 ways. Some people don't have a relationship with Christ, and so the purpose of our togetherness, the purpose of our being called together as a church is to draw people to a saving, first-time relationship with Christ. We're going to make this case using Jesus' words to the disciples in Matthew 28, the Great Commission. We're all familiar with it, where Jesus commands the disciples, authorizes them, gives them because he has the authority to send them out, he sends them out under his power to make disciples and baptize people in the name of Christ. So we're going to use that to kind of support this idea, and you're going to unpack that in a lesson. It's going to help you do a great job with it. We're going to do that to kind of support this idea of one aspect of our mission is to draw first-time believers to saving relationship with Christ. But the other aspect of our togetherness, this mission of helping people know Christ, is that we're supposed to help Christians, Christ followers, know Christ more. That's one of the purposes of our togetherness. That's one of the purposes of God calling the church to himself. Paul fleshes this out in Ephesians chapter 11, where he's talking about the different roles, different spiritual gifts that and it's not an exhaustive list, but the different spiritual gifts inside the church, teachers and apostles and preachers and shepherds. And what he's basically says, he's kind of going through this list, and he gives the reason why. He says, the reason we've been given these gifts is for the edification of the church, is to be used within the body of Christ to build people up in their knowledge of God so that they know God more and that there's more fruit in their lives. And so again, we see this idea of the purpose of our togetherness, that we're called to lead people closer to Christ. And we do that to people who are unsaved by fulfilling the Great Commission, and we do that to Christians within the walls of our church by using our gifts, the gifts God's given us, to lead people deeper in their understanding of Christ. Now, we don't want your students to get the idea that either one of these tasks is for like them when they grow into them, right? That they're for the future, they're only for adults. No, God's called your students today as teenagers who are the age they are in the context they find themselves to be people who are living out the Great Commission, to be people who are using their gifts and talents within your church to serve others and to draw them closer to Christ. So I would challenge you to in turn challenge students to do this now, to do this today, to not think about this as something that's far off in the future, but that's viable right today in their lives now. So I hope you have a great lesson. I hope your teaching goes well. If we can help you with anything, please don't hesitate to let us know, and I'll see you on our final teacher prep video for session 4. Take care.